Welcome to Planet Pluto Pseudo.
Just love that intro. I just feel like I'm really landing the mothership on Planet Pluto Pseudo. What's happening? What's happening? Good people, how y'all doing out there in them social media streets? It's me, your homegirl Ladosha, Wright, aka Key Lolo. And right over there, y'all know who it is, right? It's the one and only, the unapologetically brilliant Cheryl Morrow. And Allah, the hair oracle, given to us, that was assigned to her rather, from our dear friend Hair Savant. So this is our 5th episode, and so we welcome you. What's up, Luana? It's always nice to see you in the chat, and we are going to have a wonderful discussion. It's all about the title Bullies. Now, as we wait for a couple more folk to come through the chat, let me tell you guys how I come across this term, title bully, okay? Title bullies, rather. So I don't know if you guys know that, my background, my introduction into my career as a cosmetologist came from my career as an outreach worker when I was working in the field of social work. And so one of my reluctance of becoming a cosmetologist was really like nobody takes a hairstylist serious. So throughout my entire career, I've been trying to dodge the bullet because people really do think hairstylists are like really stupid. Like the only reason why a person becomes a hairstylist is because what? Either one, they're too stupid to go and finish college, or 3, they're too poor and ghetto or white trashy or gay, or gay, those stereotypes, So that's what the industry looks like. Welfare, ghetto ratchet rods, bimbos, blondes, poor white trash, gay people, cross genders, and butches. And I'm like, really? Looks like America to me. But anywho, and so as I'm going through this career, I can really feel the sting of you're just hairstyles, like you're a dummy. And so I've always been a little bit honestly intimidated, because in the industry, whenever they talk about experts, they always go outside the industry. They always go to the college people, like the PhDs, the scholars, the lecturers, they never really go to the cosmetologist, except when you turn on the news in the morning and there is Shushu Leroux, telling you how they color the hair, so we get that kind. It's the Oscars, the red carpet. But this type of stuff that we do behind the chair is like a joke. So as I was talking to Cheryl, and then she says, "Oh, you're talking about the title bullies?" And I was like, "Oh, you know what I mean, Esther?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so the title bullies, now they don't know they're bullies. They don't. They really think, well, we're just, we're experts and we're educated. They don't realize that I call it encroaching. Like they're encroaching. Now, of course, that is not to say that, people can't have an opinion about our industry and be passionate about their hair or whatever. But there's something strange happening, in the world of beauty. And, if you are new to our platform, again, Planet Pluto Pseudo is a podcast and a live stream that's primarily dedicated to licensed professionals who are in the barber, beauty, and natural hair, industry, or just your, I will call you guys a hair aficionado. So if this ain't your lane, you might be like, swipe. But any hoot. So Cheryl and I, we are here to really address those issues. And so the platform is very simple. We go over to TikTok, well, I do, and I scour them reels and I find some funny reels that we can get real about to welcome you guys in. And then we have a book of the month. So last month, we had Styling Jim Crow, and this was by Julia Kirk. Black welder. Well, this month, you're going to love this one, Esther, Lawana. You guys are going to love this book that I stumbled across watching Democracy Now! And it is called Doppelganger. Yeah, Doppelganger is by Naomi Klein. Now, you might be familiar with Naomi Klein. She's like an expose. She likes to really get after, she pulls out. She's pretty good. If you just kind of read up on her. So she's a really good author, a journalist, kind of like that kind of thing. And so this is a doppelganger, a trip into the mirror world. And so I thought this book was very befitting because it kind of, in her interview, she talks about this double that's kind of taken over. And as I listened to her interview, and I said, damn, that sounds a lot like the beauty industry. So we have cosmetology, and then we have this other evil side called the natural hair movement. And so what I'm going to do is just draw on some parallels of her book and to what I see, in the cosmetology industry. So we'll talk about that throughout our podcast. So this will be the book of the month. So we are entering the month of October. And so again, our book of the month is going to be Doppelganger. And this one is by Naomi Klein. She is a New York bestseller if you're into that. I'm a bookie, so I like that kind of stuff. But you don't have to be all of our books won't be bestsellers. I just want to say that. We're not trying to be like that. But I think this is a really good book, and it's going to help us have a wonderful discussion about, the professional world of barbering, cosmetology, natural hairstyling, salon ownership, and all that cool stuff. So tonight we have a wonderful topic about title Bullies. So you love to read that. Okay, it's going to probably be good. So Cheryl, before we get to our Gets Real, I'm liking the bun. It's very cool. I wish I had enough hair to do a bun. But that's my mama. I shaved off half my head. And
what you think about that? She thought you was crazy, right?
Oh, my mother was like, your ass ain't gonna find no man with your head looking like this. And look, here's the funny thing, Cheryl. When I cut it right, and she just looked at me, she was just like, she was in the hospital. She was just looking like, and the nurse said, "Oh, Miss Charles, is everything okay?" And she was like, "Mm-hmm." I said, "Well, why are you looking at that?" She said, "I'm just sitting here looking at my daughter, wondering why her dumb ass cut off half her head." I was like, but wait, Cheryl, here it goes. It gets even funnier. So when we get on the elevator, right, and we're going up to her room, from the test. So this white nurse, he gets on, and I have my hair, kind of like this, and he says, "Oh, that's a sharp cut. I like your hair." And I was like, "Thank you." And he gets off the elevator. I look at my mother. She was like, "His ass white. He don't count." I was like, Mom. So that's the mother. That's how my that's my inspiration behind the undercut was just really I just wanted to, well, for one, I was always tucking my hair behind my ear so that I could talk, and then I just was like, God, just cut it off. My mom was, on her way out, and I just was like, let me just cut. My mom hated it. I mean, she was like, why would you do, you're already single, ain't no man gonna take you serious. You just look like a damn fool with your hair cut off like that. And I said, well, Mom, it's cool because if I cover it, right, then nobody will know. And she was like, well, when they get to know you and see half of it is gone, they're going to know how dumb your ass really is. And so my mom, needless to say, she did not like the undercut. But if it gets long enough, I'll have an undercut messy bun. I don't know if it'll get that long. But anywho, you said what?
It's cute.
I think it's cute. I think she liked it in the end, but at the beginning, because my mom, she's from like the 50s, and like women don't do that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So this subject title, Bullies. Can you share with us before we do some get real stuff? How did you come up, or were you introduced to the term, or did you coin it, or did you notice something about people with their titles?
It was always looming, and you always run into the pursuit of people wanting to elevate, and of course people want to elevate and they want to be recognized. But I think that in the beauty industry, merit and rank, unfortunately, does not mean expert. It doesn't mean anything. And for the sake of this month's book, we have to be careful, especially as Black Americans, because the psychological drama of, I wouldn't say creating a second person or a second identity, but even in that identity, as natural hair care people have, or what they have done to cosmetologists, and have opened up the floodgates to a very easy entry level of, I think it's the Kruger-Dunning effect, right? Kruger-Dunning effect.
Let me hold on, guys. Let me write that up because I know, Esther, I know you're on that. Like, hey, what's up, beauty according to Miss Y? Here we go. Let me just drop that in right quick, Cheryl. Can you spell Kruger?
K-R-U, I think G-E-R.
Okay.
Kruger-Dunning effect.
Kruger-Dunning, and is that E-F-F-E-C-T or A-F-F?
No, E-F-F.
E-F-F. E-F-F-E-C-T, otherwise known as effect. So tell us about this Kruger-Dunning effect.
When you are in a group of Donald Trump at its best, it's what you do with your lowest amount of information. So the more demonstrative you are, the more maybe exciteful words that you use, though you know nothing about the subject. But what happens is that you begin to use words, or even less words, but they're excitable to describe an event or a disorder or condition. And the more you put in that is awe, regardless if they don't have to be factual or not, the crowd would assume you know more. So in the natural hair care world, that now that they have created, that's why you have so much language creation inside of the natural hair care Y2K revolution. They have words like co-wash, hair typing, because the more words you use that has never been used before, regardless if they make any sense at all, It's the fact that it's a new word and the person said it. That the cosmetologists that have been practicing for over 20 to 30 to 40 years, their language is maybe industrial or cosmetic and something that only cosmetologists understand. But when you say these excitable words that, like, you know, porosity,
Yeah.
The way they say it is that now you think that you have to count and cut your hair and stick it in some water. It's almost like the most ridiculous thing that you say becomes connected to the ears of the consumer. And so titles of hair historian, which is used by PhDs, used by people with master's degrees, doesn't mean they actually know the history of anyone in the beauty industry. You may
Here we
stick,
go. She
you
said
may,
making up foolery.
right. And
But
so
they sound, but you're right. So is this Kruger-Dunning effect? This is a real
you guys can watch a beautiful YouTube. There's a lot of YouTube videos on the it could
Kruger-Dunning.
be Dunning-Kruger effect. Kruger-Dunning.
Okay.
I think it's Dunning-Kruger effect.
Okay, we can double check that. We can
Kruger-Dunning effect, the Dunning-Kruger effect. Yeah, sorry about that.
that's
But
okay. That's okay. Oh, there it is. She's right. Dunning-Kruger effect. Wow. So we're gonna correct that right here. But yeah. So yeah, like
it's some amazing, and they explain it in a YouTube video, and you can see how people will come into the industry and they'll do workshops and they'll do summits or whatever the case may be. And in the middle of their workshop, and the hairstylist will be in the audience, and they'll say something so preposterous.
yeah, like here's a good one. Here you go. Hit it. Like press and curl versus silk press.
Right.
Yeah, we had a lady that no, I'm serious. People, a lady came in and she said she wanted a silk press, well, or flat iron, and I said, okay, so you want your daughter's hair flat iron? And she said yes, and I quoted her the price, and our service is $65, and she was so upset because we said for the flat iron service. So when she paid, she was like, well, I asked for a silk press and she charged me $65 to flat iron my daughter's hair. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, if you press it it's gonna get silky. I mean, it's kind of so but I know that there are products that kind of, but that's a very, very good one.
Yeah.
So this chronic
It's the and title bullies, just and when they come out of the mouths of them, the other phenomenon of title bullies is that you can't correct them.
right. Yeah, you can't correct them. And she didn't have a problem with the price. She wanted me to use the term, like Esther is saying, silk press. Well, in a hair salon, like it's like when we color hair, the color that we use to get the result isn't the color that you're going to see on your head. And I had that situation happen where I'm like, I'm going to use this color to give you these results. And she said, well, my hair doesn't look like the swatch. And I'm like, well, no, because I need to use. Yeah. So yeah, it's the terminology. And I did not know that there's a cause for that, and it is called the Dunning-Kruger effect. And you are right, we do see this here in the beauty industry, and this is why to your point, Cheryl, This is why I picked this book, Doppelganger by Naomi Klein, because there is something strange that is happening. I will say it, I am not a big fan, never have been, will probably never be a fan of the natural hair movement. I will say it is the worst thing that has.
Well, just the fact that the word natural.
Right. It's the worst thing.
One of those words that is designed to to create another political, social human being.
Mm-hmm.
That human being is politically correct, culturally correct,
Mm-hmm.
race correct, has better morals. It's like it's a whole different individual.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they have a sense of a sense of superiority. And
Right. And here's what my cousin Toddy, to that point, braids versus locks. You do, you hear that one is better, one is more natural.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good one. And of course, in our industry, they are hairstyles. And people just get a little all upset with it, but this is the world in which we live in. And so again, that is what this podcast is really all about, is to be able to have these robust and very candid on this platform. We're very candid, we're very upfront, and we welcome you everybody's opinion and feedback. And again, if there's something that you want Cheryl and I to cover under the guise of in the professional world of barbering, cosmetology, and natural hair, then by all means, drop them in the chat. You can email me at ladoshaw@yahoo.com. I'm the shit starter, and Cheryl will always make sure we get on track. So that's how it goes here. So we're going to get real. I have two very interesting get real. So the get reals are going to turn into a segue into the topic, which is all about title bullies. So we're going to use the word. Have you ever heard that game called I'm going to say a word and use it in a sentence? Are you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
So the word is yao. Y-A-O, y'all. So we're going to call this, why don't y'all get real? Here we go. Y'all get real. You ready, Cheryl? Here we go. Y-A-O, y'all get real.
I was to fly to China because I wanted to learn more about rice water for hair growth. They are called the Yao woman, and their hair is literally down to their toes. After spending days in the village, I flew back home, added a spin to the rice water recipe, and went live on TikTok.
We're gonna put onions in our onion herbal rice water. Got it? We're just gonna pour our mixture in here. We have our white rice, our black rice, we have our onions, our mellow peels, we have all of our herbs, our spices, and we're literally gonna let this simmer.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man. It's the doppelganger. She flew over there. You talking about?
No, that's what she said.
That was her. Hold on. Wait a minute. Don't leave, y'all. Let me play it again. She was in there. Hold on.
I was to fly to China. Because I wanted to learn more about rice water for hair growth. They are called the Yao woman, and their hair is literally down to their toes. After spending days in the village, I flew back home, added a spin to the rice water recipe, and went live on.
I thought I had she went there. There's a picture of her with those women. She
Okay.
As a matter of fact, when you go over to her TikTok page, she flies all over the world to learn about the cultural practices. And so she gets all this wonderful credit for being culturally diverse. I'm like, girl, why are you explaining? Only in America. I mean, Americans, we are just so exploitive. I know. Let me tell you, when we were in the Gambia, when we went to the rural parts, they were like, hey, true story. We pulled the camera out, they pulled us over, and we were on our way to jail. They don't play that. You're not gonna come over here and take no pictures of our people and then spatter us across, social media and do stuff like that. They were not having that. I don't think that's a good idea. But and then she came back and she just made it all her own with the onions. So
well, here we go again, and let's just and let me just say this: on the flip side of title bullying, we have a tendency to um, to exacerbate or to exaggerate like hair loss, right? And when we talk about our hair loss, we talk about as if we suffer everything Black people have the way we talk about it. We suffer from it the most. Okay.
Okay.
And so when you have title bullying, you also have we embellish a lot in terms of we can't just say hair loss. We have to say the Black hair loss epidemic. We have to say it has to be bigger than life for us. We can't say, and here's the we can't, relaxers, right?
Right.
Cause cancer, right? Now we don't. That's the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? We don't know that. We don't have any proof of that exists. But for some reason, Blackness is the waste dump for intimidation, fear, and what is really that since the natural hair care phenomenon, anything can be said without. I mean, it's almost like we have an industrial defamation of industrial of our industry character. The character is completely. No one asks us. No one says if. Or what did the cosmetologist say? Or what does professional, the expert, the professional opinion? So when you do, and then when it comes out of the mouth of it's almost like even journalists title bomb.
Yeah.
They are a journalist, and because they're reading it, it's cosmetologists and barbers do not have a.
And and we're going to talk about this next week, about leveling up. But this is one of the challenges as I went to give my testimony to help save the education, because we need to raise it. Is that it is, though, and I want you guys to just kind of help me out. Maybe you may not be a cosmetologist, but in your line of work, when you have to try to defend your position, like literally, like your job, maybe your company was going to shut down, whatever the reason, okay? Tell the truth. It's really intimidating to go in front of these people, and you just kind of feel like, I think somebody said, oh, here she is. And what's up, Sonia? Like the misuse of, the hair vernacular, or even like our words, we're concerned that we're not talking properly. So I think all of this, Cheryl, it plays, it validates, what you're trying to explain to us.
And that's why to teach Black cosmetologists and barbers is very important to me, because as the creators of the art form, bringing beauty to such a level to the planet and to mankind, and being the ones to first vocationalize it in North America, because we had to.
Right.
But we also had, hygiene is not split in beauty culture from an Afrocentric perspective, is not separate. And glory and adorning and hygiene is one and the same. Energy cleansing, aura cleansing, all of that is one and the same. So it it has to come from us. And that's why you can't teach Black hairstylists, barbers, and cosmetologists, and even natural hair. You can't teach them with the public. You have to create a sense of separateness and professionalism and elevation to give them the feeling and the notion and all of the sensibilities of professionalism. And that's why you can't teach them with consumers.
Oh my, that is so
you couldn't teach doctors with consumers. And so there is a level of knowledge that they should be exclusively privy to so they can practice and
okay. Can I just cut you off? Anybody in the chat agrees with what Cheryl just said? Because the next clip is, I'm telling you, Cheryl, if they don't know, we never plan this stuff. Like, I never know what's going to come out of Cheryl's mouth. She doesn't know what clips. She doesn't even know what book I'm picking. This goes to show you how dedicated and thorough she is, and depth of the knowledge about this particular topic. But is anybody else, in the chat, just kind of feeling, what she's saying? I mean, just go ahead and drop that in the chat, because I do feel like that whole language thing, that whole professional thing, it just kind of, for Black people, because it comes out of our house, I think we get an automatic pass. Because right, y'all, we Black, so we ain't gotta, go with them because this they stuff. So you know what I'm saying. And so, anybody else in the chat feels like cosmetologists cannot learn alongside the consumer. Let's just be honest, and I think social media is giving that's that doppelganger.
Well, and let me go further, because I don't give a shit one way or another. But when you have the elaborate and you have the shocking presentations, like a young man named Yaki on YouTube, and you have all these people on YouTube, and they're giving you information as if it's the Holy Grail, and they're giving it to you.
Ooh, that
is when you know that they are trying to maneuver your sense and sensibilities to a place to where they're getting ready to sell you something.
He sound foxy, but here go Esther. Esther said, hold on now. Esther says, I don't think knowledge should ever be exclusive. Any lay person can get their hands on a detailed medical textbook available to expert doctors, but the info doesn't have to be free. I'm gonna respectfully, Esther, have to disagree. You need to be tested, Esther. You just can't read no book and be out there like, spitting in verbatim, because
here's the problem. You can also go into and read a law book. You can also go in there and read the Constitution. The issue is that the information, once it is given to anybody, the functionality of you doing someone else's hair and me doing someone's hair as a licensed person, I have a level of interpreting that information that requires me under a license to be able to perform it and to make it applicable to where it's functional and it gets the results. Just because you are free to know it has nothing to do with how to apply it industrially in terms of teaching and consulting, styling, applying, treating, diagnosing, prognosing. It doesn't give you that kind of powers. And if I am going to be able to do those types of things for services and for money and for in kind and to the betterment of my community, I have to perform because you're expecting me to, because I have a license. You're not expecting a lay person because they picked up a textbook of medical jargon, textbook stuff. That's why a doctor is a doctor and a nutritionist is nutrition. They read the same book.
Okay. I can get with
You
that.
know what I mean?
I get it. I think also going to school versus, being an autodidact, like I'm not anti-autodidact. There are definitely some things people can just, get it. They could just get after it. But when it comes to us, now this conversation is specific to our industry, but when it comes to being a service provider in the beauty industry, it's really not about having access to a book and then being able to stand behind the chair and just make application. You need to have that education. Number one, you got to be tested on your knowledge. So you need a teacher in front of you to make sure that you know what you deduce and what you what's that word? Your cognition. Because you have standards in public safety. So our industry is not merely about making you look good. We have some other things, like Cheryl said, that we just can't learn alongside the public. And being an autodidact, it does have its space and its place in a context, but in the professional world, because the consumer is now demanding a lot more from a barber, a cosmetologist, and now this natural hairstylist than just a hairstyle. And so this clip here is going to show you exactly what we are talking about. And this is at an entry level. So here we go. They're entering the beauty industry at school. So this may help you.
Says no. Client, so she says no. So you gotta listen to the client, so she says no. So technically, we really need to go straight across right here, but the client says no, so we have to respect what the client say. So just go right there and just trim that little piece up right there, because we gotta respect what she say. But just so you know, when you get the nerves to do it, your hair will grow back faster.
My thyroid is pulling my hair out, so I'm going to keep it as much as I can. And I know by evening it out, it's going to help it grow, but it's not. It's my hair's falling out.
Okay.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
That's the reality of what we deal with behind the chair.
And did she said to the hairstylist what was the cause of her hair being raggedy. Now, but she had two different realities. She said the hair's coming out, and we're talking about the hair that's there, which has nothing to do with it coming out. We're talking about the hair that's there and trimming it and making it somewhat more stylable, because that's not stylable. It's not going to hold, and it's not going to do anything because it's so many different lanes. Now, but who won?
The customer.
My customer never wins.
No.
Never.
That would have not.
No, my point is, do you win at the doctor's office? Do you win at the dentist? Do you win at you don't even
law and the courtroom?
You don't even win at the mechanic.
No.
Because they are expected to perform, and they are the experts. Hairstyling is the only Black-oriented, Black-cultured professional space where you give your expertise and your advice, and I will say, that we do have a trust factor. And so we do have to work on that. But I do think that because confidence and chair manners are not taught, probably in the beauty school level, that they don't have the confidence, that they don't understand that that's your chair, not the customer's chair. You're the expert. And they just don't have the body language and maybe the confidence to take over.
Right. And we don't now, that was a clip So in all honesty, we don't know, how that full educational process went. But to Esther's point of, you could have access to that cosmetology book. But as
Yes.
you can see behind that chair, the context of the customer saying, yeah, well, I know it needs to be cut, but
I got a thyroid,
I got
right?
a thyroid issue, and we up here like, that's nice. We're not laughing at that or anything like that, but we have to be able to extrapolate, deduct,
Well,
deduce.
somebody told her that.
Yeah. So, but you cannot just get that from reading. You need someone to help you navigate through those circumstances, because at the end of the day, the goal is not to use our titles, of course, and to bully her into something that she doesn't want. But surely any cosmetologist, any barber, any natural hairstylist who's in their state. In Ohio, you can't cut the hair, but some states do allow it, would have a different type of a consultation with this woman, probably before they even got to that point. She would have known what was needed. And if she wasn't going to do it, they could have been like, well, you probably need to go someplace else, or whatever options that they had for her. So I have to be honest. That was just a clip. So her education obviously is going to go further. And of course, on this platform, we're not merely, and I know, Esther, you're definitely not saying that, that you forego school and just go start Googling this stuff and open up a salon. Don't do that, y'all. Now we're not merely suggesting that. So let's hop into it, Cheryl. Let's talk about, I do have a clip where we have someone who's going to pretty much define, just for all practical intents and purposes, what is an expert? So let's hear what she has to say. What is these titles about, rather?
Let's start by thinking about the 3 most powerful words in the English language. I know what you're thinking. It's not "I love you," it's Chief Executive Officer. I'm just joking, but job titles are powerful. They are just a few short words long, and yet they attempt to define who we are, what we do, what our status is, and how we are seen by others.
Hey, Cheryl. All right. So, do we need these titles? So, in our industry, we do have doctorates of barbering and cosmetology. A lot of people would be surprised to know. And in my book, What They Don't Tell You at the Hair Salon, I do share with you guys that in our industry, you can earn a doctorate's degree. Yeah. Real talk. Cheryl has one. Her dad has one. I don't have one, but you can most certainly become a doctorate of cosmetology and barbering. We have fraternities. We have a sorority. I know a lot of you don't know this, but believe it or not, we actually have that available, and it is an available a higher educational option here in the state of Ohio. Okay, so we do have that. So Cheryl, talk to us about these titles. Like, I am a master colorist. I did not just pay for that. I did not just call myself that. No, I spent 10 whole years to become a master colorist. It varies from state to state, person to person, but it took me 10 years to become a master colorist. And I traveled to Canada to take my test and become tested, and I earned my certification. So tell us about the whole titles. Like, why do we need them in our industry? And just let's go from there. These titles of master color, master stylist, and doctorate in cosmetology.
I don't think you need them. I think that everyone wants to rise up into the elevation process. The elevation process for cosmetologists has been poor. Because we are maybe somewhat a little. We think that the lowest of the totem pole is the chair portion. Because if I say that I'm, a master stylist and I'm still cutting at the same location every day with the same clientele, what does the word master, how does that serve me? We're trying to go up the ladder. We're trying to get book deals. We're trying to get product lines. We're trying to be seen. We're trying to get on panels. We're trying to be, and let's just be honest, we're trying to separate ourselves from just the average hair cutter and hairstylist. We want to be celebrity hairstylists, because what is in the local in the countries, in these hick towns and small towns, that the local beauty stylist does not give us any ego. It doesn't take us anywhere. And if we add platform artists, then that means that we are put on a platform and everybody's now looking at us. So our value goes up. And so, but inside of the industry itself, if you were in the room full of stylists and you said to another stylist, "Good evening, how are you doing? I'm master stylist," you wouldn't say that. You wouldn't call yourself a master stylist, especially when you're talking to one that you probably know is a little more decorated than you are. You wouldn't say that.
'Tis it's true.
Okay.
We don't do that.
Right. So we are trying to separate and create some deference between us and the public. But we, as a functioning group of master stylists, have we done what? What would master stylists do?
Mm-hmm.
So the key is that when we say it, we have to have some kind of evidence in, when someone says, "Oh, you have MD at the end of your name." Yes, I'm not a dermatologist. I'm a brain surgeon. You know what I mean? They're trying to say they ain't shit. They just went through a 4-year. They really, because they actually, medical doctors do make fun of dermatologists. They do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
They do. And so
that's how it is. But I tell you what, on this platform, you don't have to be a master colorist or a doctorate, because you can help us change the narrative by doing this right now.
Yep.
All right, you guys being right here with us right now, please make sure you hit that thumbs up button, hit that heart button, because, we want people to know that we are here and we are pure and unadulterated, not to mention very passionate about having a very candid discussion about what's really happening in the barber and beauty industry, because nobody is talking about it. The book that we are drawing on some parallels today is by the one and only Miss Naomi Campbell. She isn't a
Klein.
Naomi Klein. Thank you. She is a New York Times bestseller. Her book is called Doppelganger: A Trip into the Mirror World. And let me just tell you, she does take a moment out in case some of you are wondering, well, what the French toast is a doppelganger. So she writes, and this is on page 6. Doppelganger comes from the German word combining doppel, which means double, with ganger, which means goer. Sometimes it's translated as like a double walker. And I can tell you that having a double walking around is profoundly an unsettling experience. And so relate to her because I feel like the beauty and barber industry, we have a double that's around us, and it is very, very, very irritating. This book retails for about $25, and again, we're talking about doppelganger, and we're just going to draw on some parallels that we see here. But Cheryl, let's take the topic. Let's take another deep dive and go a little bit further into some of these titles. So let's just take, for example, let's just move right over into the natural hair. Now, what I'm about to show you is by no means a reflection of the entire professionals who have chosen natural hair as their path. However, unfortunately, this is the entry level that we see into this strange phenomenon of natural hairstyling. So here we go.
What's up, y'all? Let me show you how I make my motherfucking truck payment in just 6 fucking hours. So I got 3 clients today. My first one, she got 24-inch soft locks, and those ring you about $240. You feel me? And it only took me 2.5 hours to complete this look. So you know my girl was excited. Look at them shits. Nice as fuck. My next client, she drove 3 hours for these bohemian knotless, you know? You wanna know why? Because can't nobody do that shit like me. You feel me? Like, they be coming from all over for these braids. But I made $260 off of these, and plus she tipped. And then my last client, she also added human hair, but she got bohemians, and she got the Mother's Day stuff. So,
all right. So that is a level of expertise. That is a level, that's a title there. Braider. That is, believe it or not,
there's a master braider.
Yeah. That is a title. And so now we're not knocking the homegirl for her hustle.
Absolutely
but again,
not.
we're not knocking that part, girl. Do what you got to do. Go get them. What they say, go get the money. Go get the money.
And they're beautiful.
And then yes. But again, the title, the master. So let's take us on the.
I don't know what master does in the marketplace. I don't know what it gets us. I don't know, and I have a suspicion because we have a master loctician too, right? Is there master classes?
Well, I know for coloring there definitely is. What's up, Dewey? How you doing? Yes, there definitely is. Hair Savant, you want to know, I see you in the chat right quick. Sure, we're going to go back to that. He wants to know, how do you get your doctorate in barbering or cosmetology? Check this out. You will have to do this to come and find out, how do I get my doctorate in barbering and cosmetology? Here we go, Cheryl. Let's sock it to him right quick.
If you would let me do your hair. Let me do your hair. Let me do your hair.
All right, there you go, Mr. Harris Savant. It's just that simple. What you can do. You already have your ticket to the Afro Hair Summit, but the Afro Hair Summit is actually being supported by the Ohio Association of Beauticians. So that is, the president will be there. Her name is Dr. Brenda Kennard Hosey. So she will be in attendance. And if you are interested in getting your doctorate in barbering or cosmetology, you can come to the Afro Hair Summit, and the president, the one and only Dr. Brenda Kennard Hosey, will be in the house. You'll have the opportunity to meet her and talk with her about how you can get your doctorate in barbering or cosmetology. That is not a joke. It is for real. And it has been around for how many years, Cheryl? has that opportunity.
Right. That connection has been available, I'm sure, since in the 1970s.
Wow. See what we're saying, guys? You just
well, here's the thing. You want to be able to do a combination, because in cosmetology it's a combination. You want to get the accredited because you want the official PhD accredited level, so you can be able to use the doctor of PhD in philosophy. Okay. Now, to make sure that you have the scholar,
right?
That, you know what I mean. And
right.
then
Yeah, that's not about.
We take that part, and then the combination. Then you go into and integrate yourself into the other organization, and they supply you with the accreditation if that's important to you.
Right.
Because that's how I got mine, through the National Beauty Cultures League. I just don't use it. I'm just not a doctor.
She's not a title. She's not a title bully. She's a homegirl. Damn it. We're not trying to downplay it, guys. Don't know.
No, absolutely. It's just personally to me, but it was nice. It was.
And this we do. As a matter of fact, what we can do is we'll get Dr. Hosey to come on to the platform, and you guys she'll have some opportunity to share with you guys about this great organization. Like you said, it's been around since 1970, and a lot of people are not aware that is an option in our industry. So again,
I think the accreditation has been part of the organization since 1970. I don't think they started out accredited, because I think they started in 1913.
Oh, wow. Woo-hoo-hoo. Jesus. This is why we need education, guys. This is why we need education. And of course, next week, we're going to be talking about leveling up. Cheryl and we have not made it a big secret that we are in the process of writing a bill to be into law, that you must learn about the science of the curly textured hair here in the state of Ohio. So we're going to talk about leveling up next week. And what does that mean? What does it look like for an industry that hasn't changed much by way of curriculum since its inception? And as you can see, a lot of people in the chat are not even aware that you can take your passion as a barber or cosmetologist into a scholarly realm and actually get your doctorate. So thank you so much, Hair Savant, for inquiring a little bit more. So we're just going to go take a deeper dive into some another level of expertise, and that is going to be your bloggers. So bloggers are now considered, they have these titles now. That's a title that fits now into our industry. You don't have to actually do hair, but it is very real. So I have an old school one, I have a new school one, a newer one rather. But let me just show you guys a clipping of an introduction. This panel discussion was held at a university, and so it's just the intro of how they introduce. And we're talking about titles, and this title is called Blogger.
My great pleasure to open the third panel of the day with hair professionals to discuss the social and business aspects and the social media aspects surrounding Black women's hair. I want to introduce our panelists, and we're going to go in order, and then I will be last along with my hairstylist, who I will introduce you in a few minutes. Patrice Grell-Usick, also known as Afrobella, and you'll see behind us, is one of the country's leading African-American beauty bloggers. Her site,
Okay. That's the title now. And I understand there was an event recently that people paid to go to, and they thought they were going to be in a room full of licensed cosmetologists. Notice she refrained from using the term cosmetologist or barber. She used the term hair expert. She also highlighted the social media aspect And of course, we're on social media right now, so we definitely understand that this is where our customers are. But the title is she is a blogger. And so, Cheryl, give us this title, this blogger. What's the purpose?
It's. I mean, let's just be really clear. The era of Google, and the era of the follower.
Excuse me, we have an honored guest that just popped in the chat. We have the one and only. We have to pay homage to the master, the one and only, Mr. Tando Kafele. It is so wonderful. What an honor to have you in our chat. And I'm sure you're going to love this portion. We're 1 hour in, so we're not going to keep you guys too much longer. But we are talking about title Bullies. And we can't think of a bigger bully in the industry than these bloggers yet. They do have a purpose, whether I like it or y'all know I hate the shit, right? Okay. Anywho, but Cheryl is here to say, pipe down, Ladosha, get back. That is it is legitimate, guys. It is a title. It is in our industry. So Cheryl, take it away. And again, welcome, Tando.
Right. Hey, buddy, how are you? It's good to see you. And thank you for your energy. Different than journalists. Journalists have to research. Bloggers research internet information. Journalists have to create it. There's a different phenomenon. And I think that the title, when it gets to panel, and of course, we've had so many panels since the birth of the Y2K natural hair movement. The panel has been, oh my God, probably the second arm of the hair festival, or the summit, or the workshop. But I do think that it has given. Yeah, I'm with you, Ladosha. It's a double-edged sword, because what happens is that they are the furthest removed from the beauty scholar and information, science, and artistic, the cosmetic, elevation of what we have to learn and have to improve, higher level of learning. They're the furthest away, and I think brand ambassadors are even further than they are.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe, unfortunately, they're uncommercial websites who repurpose their information.
Mm-hmm.
So they get social collateral and social currency by clicks.
I love that term, social currency, social collateral. Hey, Esther, let's write this shit down so we can steal it. Social collateral. I'm loving it. Any guys loving this jargon? Yeah, that's powerful.
Right. And the experts who are in the field, the ones behind the chair, the one who has the businesses, the ones who are doing it every day, have no social value. Their social capital is just not as valued, even to the point where you turn your client, around. They're going to, from their many hours of TikTok, many hours of Instagram, many hours of, online, it's going to outrank you. But it has not been able to, do anything really to, the doctors on the internet. There's a lot of doctors and chiropractors and practitioners, in the health field, nutritionists and things of that nature. Even health enthusiasts does not cross into the medical field.
This phenomenon again, and this is why I chose this book, Doppelganger. So here's why she says she wrote the book, which explains why I chose the book. Okay, so she says, here is my attempt to decipher the chaos of doppelganger culture. Oh, I love that shit. With this maze of simulated selves and digital avatars and mass surveillance and racial and ethnic projections and fascist doubles and the studiously denied shadows that are all coming to surface at once. Hey, she a bad mom. Oh, right. Yeah. She calling them on it. She calling everybody out. I mean, and that's what she's saying. This stuff, people think they're talking to people. You're talking to a computer, and that's why I said I cannot believe that Black women fell for the natural hair movement. I just could not believe that how could you guys have fallen for that? And so in this book, Doppelganger, because she saw what happened with the Trump thing, and she just couldn't believe that white America what happened? What happened? And so for me in the hair salon, watching people come in with yogurt, I mean, I'm talking about like your plate that you eat. And they saw it on these, and I'm like, what? Well, we ain't wear afro. And I'm like, we always wore afros. What y'all talking about?
Well, here's the thing. And she makes a very good point, is that you took something that happened already, which was 1960 to 1972. The decade, okay, so you weren't here. But what you did was you knew it happened. And what you did was, and when you mix avatars, you mix Google, you mix all of the new technology with an old happenstance, and you you project. And now you're calling our hair natural. As if the afro hair, afro curly, textured hair, because Dr. Morrow called it naturally curly hair. He never said, it's almost like you guys, the Y2K just dropped the name curly and said natural hair. And then we begin to create these doubles. So I'm speaking one language from one generation, and the generation that has accumulated and created the wealth and power and status and opportunity and features and benefits and opportunities from that generation, and you completely dropped it to create a whole new Black person to behave in the world so differently that, and if even in like the person in the chat, history didn't repeat itself. It's not rendering the same wealth. It's not rendering this history in the repeat has now transferred the $30 billion to white retails. And it never happened.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on now. You losing us. Back it up. Wait a minute, beauty according to my wife. Hold on, Sonia. Okay, Miss McKeever, good night. Come on. I know it's getting a little late, but I need you to can you just go a little bit more into, it's not history repeating itself. What you mean we gave it over? Like, tell me that.
Well, when the generation that the first time it happened, right? We met the comb, we met the daishiki, we met the afro, we met the afro natural, we met the fro, we met the power sign, we met we reunited, right? And the Afro Cobra movement, then the Black Panther movement, the whole revolutionary. Hey girl, how are you? 20 years. I love me some Akiba. I love you, girl.
And she said for 20, we've been down for 20. Okay, Makiba, I just had to throw it up there. There it is. She said for 20 years, but they say it's new. Okay, but go ahead.
Right. So, but at the end of the day, but the behavior patterns in what that particular their parents' movement, their great their grandparents' movement, the dovetail into how it arrived for them to pick up at least the word natural, but they didn't pick up curly, and they didn't pick up afro, and they didn't pick all of that up. They picked it. They kind of picked a salad bar, one part, and then created natural hair. But because when you don't pick up the history and you don't pick up the conversation, you don't pick up, because at the end of the day, why does this generation build so many bloggers, but they're they're clueless? Why are they so uninformed? Why would this revolution, this new natural hair care, this Y2K, why did it behave in so many strange doppelganger ways that are so foreign to any of the behavior of the past?
Well, here's what Hair Savant says, and this is deep. I mean, this is wow. I mean, like, I really wasn't even ready for that. That's how deep that statement is. Black people were led to believe they were not Black enough. That shit.
But the question is, what era? Because the blackest we've ever been is when we got the blackest stuff, but your wealth was still locked into that Black distributor. You couldn't get Afro Sheen at Ralph's,
or oh yeah,
you couldn't get pink lotion. You could not get certain items unless you had to wait.
Yes, yeah, you couldn't go.
You know, the person brought it. The power and the structure and the definitions and the Afrocentric narratives were still locked within your community, based into your distributorship, based into this one. In terms of the subject matter of the book of the month, is so strange and so foreign and so anti-establishment that they thought they were anti-Afrocentric, but the Afrocentricity built cosmetology, regardless if you get into the relaxer portion of it, because the finger wave portion was in Harlem Renaissance. You got blackness, and I think Hair Savant may be onto something, because this generation, because they're always trying to deal with defining themselves opposite of the white woman.
And let me just here you go, doppelganger. This book is bad. So here she said, that's a bad baby. To Cheryl's point. Now, Cheryl, you ain't read this book, right? So you heard what Cheryl just said. So here she goes. This is why The Matrix and its sequels have proved such enduring metaphorical landscapes for understanding the digital age. It's not just the red pill and the blue pills. In The Matrix, human living their lives in synthetic pods are mere foods. Many of us suspect that we too have become a food machine. Hey, she writing this shit. And she writing this. And then to Cheryl's point about the whole the women thing, here she go on page 22. She says, from the author who wrote The Beauty Myth, the beauty myth as rose scholars. Come on, Cheryl know about this one at Oxford. What little girls learn is not, check this out, guys. What little girls learn is not the desire for the other, but the desire to be desired. Hair Savant, you definitely on to something. Definitely on. That's deep. That's deep right there. Doppelganger. Y'all get this book?
And strangely enough, they still want approval of the very group that ostracizes them, or at least they say ostracizes them. They're saying it's the most psychological, irrational, illogical way to exist in the world, because you're taking a hair strand that you're saying. Now just think about what Hair Savant says. We thought that we weren't black enough. You're still taking the curl and wanting it to be something else. You're not in your grandmothers and great grandfathers. You're not in their energy. You're not in their aura. You're not in their era. You're not even close, because you're taking a afro hair strand, birth texture, your texture, and you desire it to behave and look another way. And it's closer to a straight hair strand because you want it to behave that way. You don't even know you don't want it to change. You don't want it to respond to water. You don't want it to do that. You don't want, and then all in the conversation, natural.
They
It's
come
the
in.
strangest thing.
They come into the salon with the most beautiful, I'm talking about afro. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about curly. I'm not talking about wavy. I'm talking about a true afro. When you wet it, it's not going to do that. And all they want to know is, why won't my hair go natural? And I'm just like,
What do you mean? It's already natural.
This the doppelganger, y'all. I mean, this is for real. I mean, it's something is happening and nobody is saying anything. What's up, Miss Morrow? What's happening? Here you go. Come on. She said, even Opal, she's being funny, Winfrey has said that she felt validated with the ponytail like her Anglo-Saxon counterparts.
Now, and let me just say this. When Hair Savant says black enough, is that is when we go back into our culture, or we go home and we go, we want, but the black enough is never marketable enough to render the psychological and emotional feeling of being worthy, having value. Can we get that job? Because the marketplace is full of title bullies. That's the point. What's your title?
Here we go.
So
One more.
Go ahead.
Here we go. A clip. We got a clip right here for you just on that. But let me just take this out right quick. Hold on. And thank you, Hair Savant. I really, really, we appreciate everybody in the chat. Let's give us some super shout outs right quick before I show that clip. Super duper shout out to Beauty According to My Wise. Makiba, thank you so much for sticking around a little bit longer. Miss Morrow, she's just as smart as Cheryl Morrow. Sonia Salam, that's my sweetheart. Thank you so much for joining us. Kafele, we love you. Hair Savant for sure. Tondo, it's always an honor to be in your presence. I can feel the vibes coming through the screen. My big brother, Sherryann Smith. And so everybody else in the chat, we really, really, really appreciate you guys for sticking up. Esther, now you know how much we love your cute ass. So we appreciate you all very, very much. Ephraim Abdullah, LaWanna Bennett is new to the chat. She's been rocking it out with us. So LaWanna, of course, we appreciate you dearly. And you guys just keep sticking with us. You are indeed helping us change the narrative. If you have not hit that thumbs up button, we got to be like everybody else so we can stay out here in these streets. You got to make sure you hit that up. But here's another title bully. Now this one, she gets, man, this title. Now I'm not saying she is a title bully, but on the topic of title bully, if ever there was a blogger to really hit the scene and kick ass and take numbers, this chick right here, she did the damn thing. Here she goes.
Because an afro is inherently radical somehow.
Of course. Can I add on to what Anthea was saying? The debate comes up very often whether natural hair is political or not on curlynikki.com, and it's yes and no. So yes, in the fact that everything that everyone does can be seen as political, and that it impacts how you see.
You don't know who Curly Hair Nikki is, then you probably want to get out of this chat because this woman, she came in like Biggie, kicking the door, waving the 4-4. I mean, everybody in my chair was like, "Well, Curly Nikki," I was like this. Hey, Harris Savant, I was like this. Who the ham sandwich is Curly? I know, darling Nikki. You know, I knew a little girl named Nikki in the town. She was the sixth. I know that Nikki, you know, but I don't know. But this chick, she kicks some butt. So again, we're talking about title bullies. Not that these people are title bullies, but these titles are being thrown around. One last clip. Here's another expert panel, right quick, Cheryl, as we wrap it out. Here's another, because the panels, this is where these experts at. Here's another one.
And spaces outside of our own, beauty parlors and homes, and I think that's part of this sort of revolution. You were saying that this idea that we have these free social media and digital media has changed the game, and Black girls have taken over Twitter.
Yeah, she died out. I don't know what happened to her.
Yeah,
she was in New York when I was in New York.
Yeah, she co-authored the book with the I can't think of it, but yeah. So
she came from Dickie.
Yeah. So the expert panels, and you saw in the backdrop, I don't know if you guys caught that. You can't touch my hair. These are not words that cosmetologists. We want people to, get in it.
Absolutely.
I mean, hair is love. We don't want to give you guys hairstyles that your husband can't touch, your kids can't get some baby snot on it. We want to give you guys hair so you can go to church, at the grocery store. So that whole thing about you can't touch my hair, that ain't coming from no cosmetologist, because we want people, when they see you, like whenever I go out in public, people are always, I mean, I've never had to pass out a business card because people always want to know, is that your hair? Can you touch it? But anywho, that's a whole nother conversation. So let's wrap this up on the whole topic of, title bullies and what can aspiring professionals who are, looking for the titles, help.
There's nothing wrong with achieving. There's nothing wrong with elevating. There's nothing wrong with expanding. There's nothing wrong with going up in rank and being accomplished and being rewarded for it. I think that when, unfortunately, when it gets to, as my dad would say, cutting bait, and you need to help somebody, you need to solve someone's problem, you need to be able to do some differentiation, a process of elimination, being able to get them to where their symptoms and to help them solve their problems and give them some solutions. That is where they are going to think, because you have the title, they're going to be able to think that you can help them. And what gives us a little anxiety, and which causes some, and also on these really expert panels, these people, and that's why I kind of sort of stopped doing them, because I just did not want to be on the panel with people who could not answer questions. That shit frustrated the hell out of me.
Yeah, I kind of find myself.
Yeah, I can't do
falling back. Yeah, those panels, they're almost, it's like, it's doppelganger.
Yeah.
It is. The panels are not doppelgangers because we sit up there.
And I have been on some panels with some doctors, and I have been on with people who were supposed to know, and I was sitting there cringing. And they cannot, and then they don't answer the people's questions. And so I just cannot. And I said to myself, I will never be on, because I can't correct my colleagues.
I sat on a natural hair panel, and they literally set me on the other end because my hair was artificially colored and it was straightened. And
locks are bleached. What are you talking about?
This is what I was told. I mean, the person who held the panel was like, gosh, she's probably like, if, to Hair Savant's point, the blackest person, but the lady who was, on the whole natural hair expo thing, she did not give a, and I'm not ashamed to say her name was Makiba. It did happen in real life. She was like, I don't care who but it's her thing, and we have to respect. That's what she wanted, and she spoke up. You got to be able to speak up for yourself, and so that's the way it went down. But that was my beginning of. I didn't think panels were good like that. Now, the discussion that we had here in Cleveland with you being interviewed, I thought that was very befitting, because when you're on those panels and you have all those, because you kind of look kind of a little self-righteous up there too, like because we don't live your life, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying you guys can't appreciate some expert advice. You're right. You're right, because these so-called experts, they're not. These are people that are highly opinionated, and we're not saying that you have to be licensed, to Esther's point, but appointing yourself, calling yourself the master, the this, the that. I mean, that's good, because some of this stuff is showmanship. I hope you guys understand that. Stylists have always had these, right? These alter like Big Bad D, and my colleague, Dr. Spritz. I worked with a guy, his name was Stefano. And then there's a guy here, his name is Face. So isn't that a part of like the beauty industry, that we have these alter?
Yeah. And let me just say this. It's the white coat. It's what people perceive, how you can help them. Because at the end of the day, they're reading, they're writing, emailing you, or trying to get a hold of you some kind of way through social media means. And they want you, and that's why they write you letters. And they are expecting you. Okay, here we go again. There is sort of a social contract, a social, a code of conduct that should come with the perception of a title. That we expect the white coat and the scrubs and all the other thing to go along with these things. We expect them to render some kind of effect and results, and they don't.
Right, and you have to understand that. They do expect that. Tondo, did you really? He said he spoke to Big D Saturday. You see what I'm saying, guys? This is real. And in our industry, people they put titles, they name themselves things. This is, before we wrap this up, can you just kind of speak to that just a little bit so people can understand? Cheryl, you talked a little bit about that culture, and, in the beauty industry, where we had these bigger than life personas because we were the celebrities. Not me. I'm not that type of stylist, but no, I'm not, because I can't do hair like that. But Big D, for real, guys, he is the shit, not even trying to be funny. But can you just talk a little bit about that? Because people may not be aware of that sensational part of the beauty, because you saw it behind the scenes. So Little Willie and, all of these were real live, the hair cartel. Like, this is real, guys. This is not a joke.
And I think that coming out of the Bronner brother era of when Mr. Nathaniel Bronner, the father, was was still in place. John Johnson, George Johnson, and all of this kind of graduation to the baton. I think in seeing Big D and all of these people on the floor, because when he was on the floor, he was Big D, but he was big because he was big, but even he had, you know what I mean? Hey, Makiba,
they're loving your background. Your background is still in the show.
I gotta, I gotta have it, right? But I will say that even Big D had a process of how he came on the floor, and he would come on the floor, and he had to perform, and it had to, you could not, that era was our Motown.
Okay.
You was not getting up on there and just doing the days of when you had to do that bad haircut and you had to do it quick. You weren't going backstage and doing it, taking several hours, and how we, in the salon, you take all that time. They were doing really, really precision haircuts, asymmetric and precision haircuts and tapers and hair color jobs. I mean, within an hour and a half, they were really high performance. But I don't know about the titles. I just think that they knew you, but we had a process of how we could come to the floor, and you knew who the big people were,
Right.
And even when Big D would come through there, he would come through there, give me a little kiss. Go to the concession stand, get you a hot dog, and get your ass back to that booth. That's
Hey, if you don't know who Big D and Little Willie, please take yourself on a wonderful journey right here on internet. This is before my era. My colleague, Dr. Spritz, is like the weave. I mean, this guy. Oh man. So he worked with them. And when I said I this was before my time, obviously. And then Cheryl said, "Oh yeah, I know these people." So she kind of gave me the context. That there was a time, and the term she's using is that was our Motown. I don't know if it's still like that now. I don't see that in hair shows, but when I tell you these guys were definitely larger than life, and they had fans. I mean, these were true celebrities, like Liberace type celebrities, not even making it up. I think
you came in, even with just because you were Stevie Wonder, you still had to get in the back, wait your turn, get your lessons, get your dance steps, get your stuff right. You had to get that ruler. You may get popped on the hand, you ain't doing it right, practice again. No, seriously.
Oh, that explains when I was learning to become a colorist and Spritz was teaching me both people from that era. They actually snapped my fingers. Today you might get sued. But when Spritz was teaching me, yeah, I got my fingers popped. Like seriously, guys. That's some real stuff. Well, we're going to go ahead on and wrap this up. Monday, can everybody in the chat just share the content, of course, put this on your page. Give me permission to put our stuff on your page. I don't want to just drop it without your permission. And we will put our lives on your page if you guys give us permission when we go live. We will be back Monday on the dumbest shit that people say about Black hair to talk about stress in hair. Does it make your hair come out? And does it make your hair turn gray? And does it make your skin break out? All this stuff, does it make your fingernails just, everything that stress is so bad. We're going to be talking about that on Monday. And then we're going to be back next week and we're going to talk about leveling up. What are the ways that we can truly level up, and how do we do this? Cheryl and I, we have one way that we're going to do it, and that is we're writing a bill, and we'll talk a little bit more about the bill here in Ohio, but there's so much things that we can do, so we're deciding to change the law.
Right.
That's what we're going to do. We ain't doing no... What'd you say, Cheryl? I'm sorry.
And not the present one.
Not the whole new one. We got a whole new law because I can't do hair, and I know that I need to learn more. And so, I'm going to change the industry in a different way. If you watch my documentary, it's free right here on YouTube. It is called The Narrative. Okay, and this it chronicles, what we go through behind the chair, and it's all centered around Cheryl and her illustrious father, the one and only, the legendary Dr. Willie Morrow, and you will see me tell him, I gave her dad my word that I am going to do right by his name. Tomorrow, I'm driving up to Toledo, Ohio on my own with my 2 colleagues. They ain't asked me to come, and we're going to go to every salon, every barber school who will let us in to talk about the Afro Hair Summit that will be happening in Toledo, Ohio on Monday, October the 23rd. Cheryl is going to be there. We got 4 wonderful topics. We have lunches included. So this is absolutely wonderful. You plan on going to cosmetology school? Absolutely. Yes. Whatever we can do to help you out, you let me know sometime next year when you go. You guys, please put it right here. I said it. I'm going to be the first to say I will contribute $100 towards your education whenever you sign up. You can quote me here and say, Ladosha, inbox me, whatever, email me. I'm going to be in business.
All right. I'm the challenge. And we got the challenge.
All right. We got a request. She says, bring some of them, take some of them calls with us. We will most certainly will. But as we sign out,
I will do that. And make sure that you understand that next month, in a couple of days, is breast cancer month. So we are going to comb with a cause. And we are going to have pink combs. I want stylists having pink combs in their hands for the month of October. And you can get those at the afrohairscience.com and at the salon.
All right. So that's how it's going down. Sonia Salam, I have to find your comment. Just hold on, guys, before we sign out. Sonia Salam had a magnificent comment that I think would be very, very, very befitting for this as we leave out. And she says, a title enters the room before you do. And that's something to think about. In this world of doppelganger, we've got to be more careful and understand, something bigger is going on out here. We're going to support Cheryl as licensed professionals, and we are going to comb pink throughout the entire month of October. And this is to recognize breast cancer awareness. All right. So we will see you guys on Monday. We're going to talk about stress and hair. We'll be back next week talking about how can we level up the industry and why it's important. And so on this platform, when we sign out, what we say is good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best. And don't forget to get that book, Doppelganger by Naomi Klein. You guys are absolutely wonderful. Thank you guys so much. And we will see you on Monday. Bye.